Hey, I'm Ron Drotos, and welcome to day 4 of my 31-day Jazz Piano for Beginners Workout Challenge. Thanks for being here. I'm having a great time, and I found that my playing is getting a little better just from doing this too. So these are the fundamentals, but they're really for every level. And if this is your first time playing jazz ever, welcome to the expanding universe of jazz. It just gets better and better and better the more we do it. And if you're at that intermediate level, hey, you're getting fluent, probably in a way that you haven't before, or at least in a different way than you have before. And it's just going to add to the enjoyment as you get more flexible. So a couple of things. One is that as you're doing these, you can start learning melodies to jazz standards. You know, if you have a copy of the real book or a fake book, don't feel like you have to be able to play the chords and the bass line, everything just to get up and running. You could just with your right hand plunk out some melodies, get to know the repertoire. And you know, as pianists, we have this compulsion to play everything, you know, left hand, right hand, everything. But think about it, if you played flute, saxophone, or even the melody on a guitar, you wouldn't feel that. Or vocalist, right? You'd experience that melody alone. So it's fine just to start playing some melodies and get to know them, because in a couple of years, when you're really at that higher, much higher level as an improviser, and you can play those tunes with fluency, maybe even a couple of months for some of you, you'll have been living with those melodies and those tunes, and they'll be sort of absorbed into your sort of musical persona, and you'll be playing them they'll be like old friends by that time. So get to know them now. I guess that's a good way to put it. So we started out with one note. And I remember I teach at the Fairbanks Summer Arts Festival in the summers in Fairbanks, Alaska. And one time, I've been there since 1999, and one time I was up there, and there was a great saxophonist named Bob Kindred. He was really one of the greats. It was like listening to Ben Webster play or something. And I was accompanying this jazz vocal class for the performance, and the teacher, Giacomo Gates, a really great jazz singer, a good friend of mine. Hey, Giacomo, if you're watching. And we were performing, and you know, he was leading that class, and I was playing the piano. And so he had about 15 singers, mostly, you know, beginners at jazz and some intermediate. And at the end of the night, he was going to do a jam where they all just scat sang on the blues, you know, whatever. And he invited Bob Kindred up to play sax. And Bob was an old pro and just had a warm, sweet sound to his playing. So what happened was the singers were doing their best, right? But they all sang way too many notes, and it didn't mean too much. They're going, you know, they're just trying to get into jazz, right? So Kindred gets up there, and you think he's going to be playing this incredible solo. And he gets up, and he basically, I'm going to sing it. He gets up after they all scat sang, and he goes, la. Takes the horn out of his mouth, walks off the stage as people clap. He took a one-note solo, and I think he was telling them, you don't have to play all those notes. So I'm going to set my timer, and we found that out already. I'm going to set this for our 20 minutes, and let's add a fourth note to our blues scale. This is the C blues scale. So we have a C, E flat, F. We're going to add F sharp. And the main thing is to acclimate our ears to it. So just play the C and listen. All right, and now it's going to go up to the E flat. And then just another whole step, F. And now that half step to the bluesy note. All right, so let's just start improvising on this. Let's trade fours right from the beginning. I'll go 4 measures first. So I'll keep a walking bass line, and we'll just improvise over the blues chord progression, which we'll get to another time. You'll be able to play the blues by the time this is finished. Excuse me. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Your turn. Now me. Yeah, the way I hear it in my head, that G flat or F sharp, it doesn't really skip down to the other notes too much, but it could. It usually goes down to that F stepwise, or later on up to the G stepwise. But you can. You can alternate with the C's if you want to get a little angular with it. The idea is to follow your ear, right? So let's try something with the 2 and 4. We were snapping and clapping on 2 and 4 to really develop this. So we're going to play in our left hand 5 notes starting from C. C, D, E, F, G. Just those 5 notes. Let's just give it a try. 1, 2, 3, 4. C, D, E, F, G. Now, let's go down from G down to C. Ready, go. G, F, E, D, C. Now we'll just keep going up and down without repeating either end. 1, 2, medium swing. 1, 2. It's a walking bass line. Let's just repeat this over and over again 4 times. 3, 4. Boom, 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 boom. It's a walking bass line like a bass player would play on a C major chord. And now we're going to just tap or snap on beats 2 and 4 with our right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep doing this. Just the F sharps and the C's. Yeah, there we go. Gradually, a little at a time. You can still put on jazz records and snap on 2 and 4 or clap, right? All right, let's try, or let's do, that C major 7 chord again we did a couple days ago. C, E, G, and B. And we're going to gradually learn more chords, but first we're just getting used to this. And last time we were improvising on C, D, and E. Now we're going to go up to G. We're doing the first 5 notes of the C major scale, or you could think of it as Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol. Sort of hear these intervals. Just play around with them a little bit. So you have some memory of what they sound like. Maybe you already do. Develop your ear. And now we're just going to hold down the left hand while we improvise with those, with this swing rhythm, this 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Now you go. 1. Now my turn. Your turn. There you go. So, what you may have noticed, and if you've improvised before you would have, or made up notes, that the C, just play that chord in the left hand, C major 7, and play a C. It's very consonant. I mean, there's a little rub against the B in the left hand, but basically it's the tonic note. It works. It sounds good. It's like running around the bases in baseball or playing a sport like that. That's safe, right? You know that's going to work. The E works as well because it's in the chord. Just play that and hear the C and E totally inside the chord, and the G as well. So let's improvise using just those three notes right now. I'll go first. 1, 2, you can play the left hand. Now your turn. It's hard to do, the drumming. So those are the notes that really work, always. The other notes in between are more colorful. The D, just play the D and listen to it. It's the second note in the scale. It would be considered the ninth of the chord because we have a root, third, fifth, seventh, ninth. But it doesn't mean you can't play it. It just means that it's got a nice color there. It's a little more jazzy, if you will. Really nice. Now how about the F? The fourth note in the scale. Okay, if you just land on it like that, it does clash between the E, the third and the left hand. It doesn't mean though that you should avoid it at all, because if you hit it and you just want to move, you just move up or down one note and it becomes a dissonance consonance or a tension resolution kind of thing. Sometimes you see the fourth note in a major scale referred to as a, quote, avoid note, and I would avoid that concept. Don't even think that. I mean, it's lucky that Beethoven didn't read those books that say that that's an avoid note. He would have never written, right, Ode to Joy, because he's got that there. Matter of fact, it's on an accented beat. It's an accented non-chord tone. Not only did he not avoid it, he highlighted it. It's on beat 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Man, right? He didn't avoid it. So why should we? There it is. Just lean right into it. Be proud of it, right? By the way, just a tip. If you hit a wrong note that really just sounds horrible, this is what Jerry Mulligan told me. I was his assistant in the late 80s, and it was really great. I got a lot of good direct advice. He said if you play a note that really sounds horrible, play it 2 more times, and it'll start to sound right. It's amazing. So years later, I saw an interview with the guitarist, Eddie Van Halen, the rock guitarist. He gave the exact same advice. If you play a really bad note, play it twice more. So I'm going to improvise a little. I'm going to hit the D flat by mistake. Right? So I'm going to go. All of a sudden it sounds like, okay, he wanted to do that odd kind of thing, right? Amazing, right? Sounds like Thelonious Monk all of a sudden, not a mistake. Do it 3 times in a row. All right, so let's improvise using those 5 notes of the scale and being aware that the C, E, and G are the chord tones. But you don't avoid the other notes. You can play them, you can land on them, you can play them as passing tones. But I call the chord tones centers of gravity. They're the notes that sort of you eventually come back to most of the time. So I'm going to play a bass line and some rhythms, and you just hold down your left hand, or if you want to try different rhythms, you can, and improvise with these 5 notes and have fun and really listen. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Have fun, keep playing. Remember that bass line? And sort of in the, just jamming on one scale even. All right, let's use the whole C major scale. And the reason I didn't start with it is because sometimes if we just start with a whole scale, especially if this is your first time ever playing jazz or improvising, it's fun to just plunge in and do it. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, if you take the time to fine tune our ear like we did with the one note at the beginning and getting into that and now a couple notes, you're already going to be playing at a much higher level, and it's going to be more satisfying because you have more of a connection to the music. And ironically, you can play simpler and it's going to sound better. I found that with a lot of so-called musical development isn't just learning more complex stuff, it's to play simpler better. So you can just go simple, but it was good, right? I couldn't play like that when I was 25, right? It didn't always come out like that, but you get better over time, hopefully. So we're just going to use our right hand, and I thought we'd play a ballad to really listen to all the notes, and I just want you to do it with one finger so you don't worry about fingering at all. I never want you to worry about fingering. If you run out of fingers, you're improvising. Just don't go any higher. Come back down. So I'm going to play different chords. So it's not just C major 7. I don't even know the progression yet. I'm going to make it up. But if you play a note that really sounds not so great, and you're lingering on it, just resolve. And then it works. Or you can just, if you like it, you stay on it, right? So just with one finger, we're going to be Bill Evans at the Village Vanguard playing a beautiful ballad. 1, 2, white notes, and... So it'll be like, just let it linger. Matter of fact, let me go for a second. I'll try it. And your turn. Just follow your ear. It gets better over time. Jump around too much. Keep it stepwise. It's a little easier to hear. Go ahead. both play. You can use different fingers. Ended on the ninth. I was going to end on the third, but I ended on the ninth. Yeah. So that's a really good way to start using scales, to do it on a slow song like that, a ballad, because you can really think, you can really hear. We're going to get to it up tempo, and we will cover the seventh chords and really get to know them in different inversions and everything. Let's play. Oh, okay. Well, we'll do that next time. It's going to do a medium swing over a couple different chords in the key of C. We'll get to that, but basically you get the idea. We're operating at a pretty high level here, even at the quote beginner stages. And again, if you're at intermediate or even a little more than that, this is the kind of listening that will get you even farther. I'm enjoying this so much. If you please share in the comments a favorite jazz pianist of yours, or any instrumentalist, Coleman Hawkins, saxophone, whatever. One of your favorite jazz musicians or all time. And if you feel like it, why you like them. What is it about their music, if you can define something. If not, it's fine. You can just say whatever you want. But the idea is to share with each other, encourage each other. And maybe you'll mention somebody that someone else reads it and says, oh, I never heard of Ahmad Jamal. Let me go check out Ahmad Jamal, or whoever it is. Thanks for being here. There's some links that you can click if you're interested, and I put a video that you may enjoy, just for fun. Good luck with your playing, and see you tomorrow.